Well, wow. Did not expect to be having this conversation today with you guys, but let's do it. Let's get right into it. I'm David Brown. I'm here with Ryan Graham once again. Also, Joey Balog has chimed in on what's going to be our second episode of this podcast that does have a name now. We're going with State of Atlanta. I think it was probably pretty evident by the end of the last episode, but yeah. There we go.
We had this rule of not being negative, but I don't think we have to now, right?
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. There's not a lot of negative things to take away from what we witnessed on Saturday. Georgia State, 38-30 over the Tennessee Volunteers in what is going to probably be the best game that we've ever had so far. So, Ryan, what was your take on what we saw on Saturday?
I saw a team that looked like it belonged, right? Tennessee made a lot of mistakes, but we didn't, right? So we stood up and we looked like we belonged on that team. It was like any other SEC team playing any other SEC team, and
oh, we're an SEC team now?
Yeah.
We just got a promotion.
All you do is change the letter.
Sorry, American Conference. We don't need you guys anymore. We're in the SEC now.
The letter's in the mail, I'm sure.
There's going to be some.
We didn't even toe-to-toe with an SEC team, right? We dominated them.
There's going to be some fans of other schools that may possibly listen to this, and they're going to think we're really being serious, that we think we're SEC caliber team because of this game.
I'm going to chant SEC at the next game.
And we're right. And they're right. About? They're right. Yeah. So Joey,
Yeah, still not 100% sure that we won. I was pretty shocked seeing the score and the countdown, but I'm pretty sure we won that thing.
What was that moment? When did you realize that, we got a chance to actually do this? Because there was a lot of scoring in that fourth quarter, and but there was definitely a point. I don't remember what it was.
It's all a blur at this point to me.
So any other team, Dan Ellington running in for to get 35 to get us to 35 was the clincher. But even then, I'm looking around like, okay, but there's still time, so I'm worried. But then the interception.
There was
right.
The interception.
Then there's the interception. I was like, I think it's done.
Yes.
I don't think there's much that can happen here.
Yeah, that's
because that play it wasn't even on the screen. It was just like they were still showing a replay. And then just next thing you know, it was like we intercepted the ball.
Yeah.
And I was like, we still hadn't recovered from whatever it was that had happened just before then.
Exactly. And so I do this thing, being an Atlanta fan for as long as I have been, and the team's putting us through so much stress, is I find myself looking at the clock of the game at the entire time. It's like as soon as a play starts, watch the play and just right to that clock. How many seconds expired off that clock? And you get down there and you start getting to a point where you're like, you know what? I think we got a chance. You know what? I think we're going to do this. And then you're kind of like, what could happen to keep it from going the way we want it to go? And it didn't.
We've been watching football for a long time, and I've seen 21 points scored in less than 5 minutes. I've seen that happen.
We've seen. I think it was,
I'm like,
there was a few years ago. I think it was Louisiana Lafayette, maybe, and there was like 14 seconds on the clock, and they still somehow managed to run a touchdown back or something. And
yeah, right. Yeah, so
we've seen a lot of that in the years.
Yeah,
not to be negative, but
no, exactly.
We are a hit dog.
Well, I did like that, like what you were saying about going toe to toe. Yeah, we didn't give up. This is a team. Georgia State football team has been that team where when they got down a little bit, there was no recovery, and we got down by a couple of scores, and it didn't change anything.
Nope.
They kept on playing the same way, and that's
the way that we won. I can think of one fluky play, and it was the
reverse.
The beginning, the fumble, fumble that led to gave us and that gave us a short field, and you can brush that off. Like anybody can run a touchdown.
But other years we might not have scored.
Yeah, and that other years we may have not gotten there and then missed the field goal, and then there you go. But we ran it in. You can brush that off or whatever. But I think I saw somewhere between now and then three drives of 75 yards or more. You can't fake that.
Got out there, controlled the clock, did what they wanted to do.
It was over 200 yards rushing for us and kept them under 100. What team is this?
Right.
What is this? And
this is your Georgia State Panthers is what this is. The 2019 version, brand new.
Ellington wasn't our top rusher.
No. which is very surprising.
Barnett, right?
Yeah, he had a great game.
Yeah.
He had a great game.
Yeah.
Not to take away from, like you said, that last touchdown that Ellington had.
That was an amazing play.
Yeah, that's been like the big
play.
highlight that I've seen over and over again, and it's great. And just it looked like he was so at ease out there doing that. And what a great guy! Like watching the interviews, like after the game with him, and whatnot, so respectful. I mean, he really seemed like he is the leader of the. I mean, he is the leader of this team, and he put it out there on the field. Very composed. Yeah, I was
and mature. I mean, he's not out there bragging or.
Absolutely. I mean, referring to him as his brothers, how much he loved them, and how big of a deal this was for all the guys on the team. So yeah, that was great. And coach was.
It just means more to us.
Right. But I'm saying, coach, he was man.
Took a little shot at the SEC there.
Yeah, exactly.
He did.
Good for him.
It means more, right?
Yeah.
It means more to us. Yeah, I liked what he had to say about the team afterwards as well. Very complimentary. It was something else, something we've not witnessed before. I'm speechless.
We're all
still.
speechless. We're all speechless.
So
I think I stood with my hands on my head and my mouth wide open for about 8 minutes left. From 8 minutes on in the fourth quarter all the way to the end, I just stood there with my.
Like, what am I watching? What am I witnessing right now? Yeah.
I had a friend text me, what the actual F to me.
Yeah.
And I just wrote him back. Honestly, we're just as shocked as everybody else in the college football world.
Yeah, I got a text from one of my friends who actually went to Southern. Congratulations, and all I could compose at that moment was wow. Like that's all I could get. And
I think most of my texts were from Bama fans,
right?
Who were just like really happy to. I mean, they're like, Tennessee is like their Georgia Southern to us,
right?
And so,
right.
So they're just like really happy to see them fall as far as they can,
Oh yeah,
Bama. Has there been any? Have we seen anything from Bill Curry? Has he said anything?
I think he tweeted out something, but I'm not 100% sure. I think he
don't know.
Commented, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know if
I saw something. He called out Dan and said some other stuff. It was a tweet.
I'm sure he said the most eloquent thing ever, and
it
inspired everything. So yeah, I have not seen it, but
never short on that.
Why have I not seen it? There is social media has exploded.
Yeah.
I can't keep up with all the tweets and the retweets and coming from everybody, and it's our moment. Which I guess that's why we'll get into is this the biggest moment or biggest game in Georgia State history? There was a thread about this.
Not according to
Coach.
I
started the thread.
You started the thread on Panther Talk about this.
Coach says number one is Western Kentucky bowl win.
Bowl win.
That's what he said right after the game. He was like, "The still at number one."
Well, yeah, you're being humble. You're trying to say, not only do we come in your house, beat you like dogs, take a $950,000 paycheck with us out of there. This wasn't even our biggest win. Yeah.
Did you see that tweet? The guy, they were like Georgia State collecting their check, and it's like the guy dancing into the barbershop.
Yeah,
like,
exactly. It was a barbershop. I was like, I thought it was the varsity.
Yeah, or that, whatever. I don't know. I have no idea. It was awesome.
So if you're talking about what the biggest game is in school history, obviously basketball comes into play. The shot against Baylor, the first win against Wisconsin, that uber beatdown of Georgia Southern in their house. And then the bowl win. The bowl win. I would have to say those are probably the biggest games in program history.
I wouldn't say Georgia Southern. I mean, that's a small school,
regional university.
Yeah, regional directional school, and honestly,
yeah, but y'all, we killed them.
We're beating SEC teams,
and we weren't supposed to.
And I mean, and they're new to FBS too. I mean,
yeah, that's true.
Yeah, so
I can't do it. That ranks up there for me. I loved it.
I had to include it in there. You've got to include that as far as a big win. But yeah, I think that in the South where football reigns supreme, this is the biggest win in school history, and it definitely has people talking. And the shot had people talking. Mm-hmm. Not like this.
Yeah.
Not getting. Social media has changed even in these short few years. How much even bigger it is now. But yeah, the tweets are off the hook right now. It's great.
And football's just different. It's just a different beast in the Southeast,
Yeah,
exactly.
And I think
I did not mean to rhyme there.
I had commented on that. I think that like with basketball, you can get a couple guys that are streaky and really hot, and they'll just run through a tournament, or it just seems like with basketball there's a much more level playing field, where the mid majors have a lot more chances to beat the big guys. Whereas in football, I mean, that's a much more physical game. I think it's much scholarships. Harder. 85 scholarships.
Yeah. And every game means so much.
Yeah.
I mean, we just ruined Tennessee's playoff hopes. They're out. They're done.
Yeah.
No playoffs for them. Whereas we were in the playoffs with the Baylor game, but there's how many games were going on that day?
Tennessee's out of the playoff considerations. Does that mean we are?
Oh, I don't see why not.
I think that's true. We still are. Tennessee is not. Who's still
if we can beat our whole schedule, are we in?
Well, this is actually.
we have Army. We have
Western Michigan.
Western Michigan. So yeah. I mean, it's not the worst. It's not the worst out of conference.
We do have the rest of the Sun Belt, which did not fare as well as we did over the weekend. But yeah, so this kind of leads into something that I wanted to do, maybe an off-season episode about. But what type of scenario has to happen? What random events has to happen that actually even put Georgia State in like a playoff picture talk? I mean,
I don't think they would ever consider.
It's got to be we win at Tennessee like this, and then Tennessee goes undefeated.
Tennessee has to go undefeated.
They beat the socks off of Alabama and Georgia. They'd have to, and
the playoff expansion. There'd have to be a playoff expansion.
But then we would need to hang 60 on every team for the rest of the season.
Yeah, we got to put 70 on Furman, and they end up being the FCS
when we go to the SEC championship to play Bama, yes, to get into the playoffs, yes. We'd have to do that. But
I almost spit out my beer.
But, I mean, if you think about
really, almost got me.
Let's not that any of us here are saying that
Georgia
State could run the table, but theoretically, if we did run the table, I think we would have a good shot at a major bowl.
A good one. We get a good one. I mean, look at what Boise State put together several years ago. They got some great props and had their BCS.
Didn't Toledo do well in recent history too? The last 5 or 6 years, I think.
Mm-hmm. You got me on that one.
I used to pay more attention to football than Georgia State.
Right. But yeah, so this is good. I mean, what impact can a single game have on a program like this?
I actually thought about this earlier today. I don't think that this single game is going to have the impact of, now, I mean, we're all of a sudden getting a bid to another conference or an invitation to another conference. But I do think this, coupled with some more wins and a solid season, I mean, this definitely got some attention, I'm sure, of some other conferences.
Well, I think someone tweeted out there and they made a comment about Georgia State auditioning for the American Conference, which is the conference we all know that's where we belong.
Yeah. I saw somebody saw AAC had a slot open.
Right. Yeah. And this is exactly what we've been talking about. Yep. We think that we belong in a conference that's got urban research universities in there, which is what the American is and what we are. But they say, well, you got to win.
Right.
You got to win.
This is audition.
What's your signature win?
Yeah.
Hello.
You have our attention. Now, what do you have
Tennessee.
to say? And
hello. Yeah. So that's great. And I think a lot of people. I think perceptions will have started to change. Obviously, we have 11 more games to play. Hopefully, 12 more games to play. But from the response I got from my friends and family, and I think I mentioned it last time. Yes, I do have family that went to Tennessee. And we were texting before the game, and they were kind of talking some trash, obviously. And I was like, you know what? Another family member went to Memphis, and so Memphis was playing Ole Miss. I'm like, Tennessee's going to have a good day. They're going to be fine. But no, Memphis did do their job, but we did ours. And then, as Ryan, you and I were talking before we got started on this, Georgia went to Tennessee and beat up on Vanderbilt, which is not a surprise win, but it is one of those kind of things that's kind of interesting, two Tennessee teams playing two Georgia teams and the two better teams coming out to
win. Going back to your question about if the one game makes a difference, I think that we have to build on it, right? Mm-hmm. The team did their job for this game one, but if they come in and do something bad at Furman, right?
Yeah.
I mean, like, we're gonna have a lot of eyeballs there. They got the fans in the door. And
Right.
now they have to go and perform again at home.
I think there's a bigger stakes now because nobody expected anything from us at Tennessee. Now we're expected. Obviously, if we can beat Tennessee, we should beat Furman.
And
but
Furman's a good FCS team.
it is, yeah.
They're
We struggled with
number
it last
11
year.
now, I think. So
Yeah. We'll get into Furman game a little bit later on, but yeah, that is the lot in life of being a Georgia State fan. Is you get that win, and then any game on our schedule could be a trap game.
this is not a Georgia State alone thing, though, right? This is Atlanta sports.
It's true.
We just fell right into Atlanta sports.
Something in the water. Yeah.
Two winning seasons that we've had so far?
Well, there was the first one.
And
one.
then Sean's.
The bowl
And then
season.
the bowl.
Yeah. Well,
No. We've had
two.
three. We've had three.
But that wasn't a winning season. I think we were 6-6 on those.
That's true.
And we
first
lost.
bowl,
And we lost the bowl
and then
game.
we lost the
Lost
ball.
bowl
Yeah.
game.
And so we were
Yeah.
losing season. Yeah.
So, yeah. This would be the first time we went 2-0.
And we have to win at home. That's
Right?
the thing.
Yes.
Did we win we didn't win our second game that first season, did we?
No.
Was that
I don't want to use the L word.
The team that should not be named. Yes.
Lambeth is
Yes.
yeah.
So this is our first opportunity to go 2-0, and which is obviously the easy low hanging fruit joke is that's something that we would squander against.
We'll lose to Furman, and then they'll close the following week.
Right. Well, it's been two schools, right? There's been two different schools that have closed after they beat us.
Yeah, I forget the other one.
Yeah.
No, I mean, and I think this is a position that I've been in before, and going back to Shorter and Lambeth.
Was it
We
Shorter
had
that
these
closed?
big games, and then I would invite a whole bunch of people.
Yep.
To come, it's like, come to Georgia State. I feel like I'm an ambassador of Georgia State, and I'm like getting people to come, and then I get them to come, and then they're like, "Why did you bring me to this game?"
Yes, this is horrible. Yes.
But I have 8 tickets, and I've given them all away.
Yeah.
So hopefully we can turn this around.
That's the thing is I'm also a member of the PAC board, and it's obviously very beaten down into to get people out, more people that can come and see the teams, and potentially become donors and whatnot. But it's been so hard. I've had a hard time inviting people back out to games. But this is the type of thing that changes that, and it gives you hope again that we will be that we've turned the corner, so to speak.
People take the program more seriously because we beat a real opponent,
right?
In the larger public's eyes.
And that's one of the things that we see all the time as we talk about, why can't we get people to come see the team? Well, not only do we are we not be doing very well, but we play teams that no one has ever heard of before. What's a Louisiana Monroe, or what's a
people
Coastal
know them
Carolina?
from Duck Dynasty.
Oh, that's true. Yeah. What's a Coastal Carolina? A Chanticleer.
Yeah.
Besides the worst colors in college football.
I have a guy at work that is a South Carolina fan, and he was even like, Coastal Carolina, I thought they were like D2, like started the program.
Yeah.
I kind of like those.
I know, but
guys,
he's from South Carolina.
The teal field. And
Yeah,
whatnot.
I like it.
Yeah,
They win for it.
Not in my wheelhouse. So we talked a little bit about this, the social media buzz that's been going on. Kirk Herbstreit tweeted us out. We are his number one as far as performances of the week. There's been Steve Spurrier. Did you see the quote that Steve Spurrier had?
What was it? He's always good for a good quote.
And I didn't put the full quote down, but he does refer to them as Rocky Bottom.
Yep.
And they'll be that way until they, in a few weeks, until they win one. So I don't know if he's actually looking at their future schedule. But
I grew up a UGA fan, so I like hate Spurrier, but I like totally. If he were to come coach at Georgia State or something, I totally get why, if he's your coach, you love him to death, because he's always got some kind of sly.
I don't know if he just like sits at home and like writes these little tidbits down to remember to pull out whenever he needs to. But he has definitely had some of the best just jabs at other SEC schools and other teams for years. So, but to have him talking about, all right, beer break, guys. Just go ahead and
I'll take
reload. We weren't sure at first if we wanted to make it obvious that we were drinking while we did this, but
we opted we'd do that and not cuss.
Exactly.
The more of these that I have.
Joey, I did not mention that to you. Yes, we are a kid-friendly podcast.
Ah, okay.
As far as
I thought you knew you edited yourself well earlier.
Did I curse earlier?
No, you edited yourself.
Oh, I did. That's right.
Yeah.
I did. I tried. Oh, because I wasn't aware if there was a rule.
you knew.
I assumed there was.
yes.
Yeah,
yes,
well, Apple
yes.
cares. So when you want to get on iTunes, they make you check a box if you're going to cuss.
And Apple cares a lot more about this type of stuff. We'll get into where you can find our podcast later on, but it's not Apple. so maybe we just start dropping F-bombs left and right.
Yeah, but getting back to some of the tweets, just in Atlanta alone, having somebody like Chipper Jones.
Chipper Jones,
probably my favorite Atlanta player of all time.
That gives us so much street cred. I feel like with the type of crowd that we're trying to attract, especially because most of those are probably Georgia Tech and Georgia and UGA fans,
exactly,
who have kind of laughed off our program for years. And to have somebody who's so respected come out there and be like, "Hey, congrats, Georgia State!"
A winner comes out and talks about our program. Didn't see that.
A Hall of Famer.
Yeah. So, do you guys? I put down the couple of those here, but did you guys have any favorite social media? This is kind of off the cuff. I did not expect to ask you these questions, but was there a favorite thing you saw on social media at all from all of this? Because there's.
It was the dancing to collect the
that's a great one. That was a great one.
That was the one, for
mine
me.
was from Georgia State University, and our 4 tickets for $38.30.
Brilliant.
And just that coupled with all the replies, because there were so many hilarious GIFs that were retweeted and responded.
He's a GIF guy. I'm a GIF guy.
It's GIF.
It is GIF.
It's GIF. You're outvoted.
All right, that's an off-season conversation. Yeah, the 3830 was great, and that itself got media attention. Last night after the kids were asleep and everybody was gone from the house from everything we had going on yesterday, I just started going through YouTube and just looking up Georgia State, Tennessee, and it's inundated with YouTube videos. And there was a news segment where they just pretty much have our ad for these 2 tickets on screen the entire time, and then small little panels below it are the reporters talking about what a brilliant idea this is. One of the guys was from Tennessee. He wasn't a big fan of it. He said he wasn't going to come to the game.
Saturday Down South saying expert troll by Georgia.
Yes,
Georgia State.
Which a lot of these kind of things I find incredibly petty, but this one I don't. The shirt.
I'm probably not going to get the shirt, but
when I saw that,
I just don't want that ugly orange on my body.
No, I don't either.
That's the key, right?
Well, when I first saw that shirt, I'm like, that is petty. I must own it. And then
I was about to say, you don't get upset about petty. You're.
Well, did you see the petty?
Sobriety kicked in, and I was like, you know what, we won the game. Let's move on to the next game.
Yeah.
And so, I did not purchase the shirt.
I wasn't a big fan of
my
the
sisters who went
shirt either. So
my sisters who went to Tennessee maybe getting something in their Christmas package this year.
Nice.
So
the best 34-7 though was a little too far, right? We all kind of complained that we milked the Georgia Southern 34-7 thing a little bit too much.
Right.
But when they came to our house to play some basketball, somebody stuck that sticker on their bus.
Right.
And that
good.
was hilarious.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah,
that was hilarious.
It was hilarious. So you guys are not purchasing the UpseT.
It's the orange. I can't have that orange.
But what a great little logo is it?
I hashtag upset it.
It's
earlier.
perfect.
Yeah.
Whoever came up with that, kudos to you, and kudos to the 3830.
Yes.
So somebody from athletics claimed that they did the shirt beforehand, but it has the score on it, so I don't think.
Yeah, I actually put that in my notes to talk about, but I didn't want to go back to. Yes. So
it's easy to edit the shirt.
Well, yeah, especially just adding some numbers on the
they
page
said they had
or
to
whatnot.
print it.
But yeah, that's what they had him said. So I don't know if he was serious or not. Maybe the logo was figured out.
You can superimpose an image onto it. I do it all the time.
I could imagine that being like
and
locker
that's
room
what we called
material
you out
though.
today. We wanted to talk about
this is the one
shirt
expert
printing.
Yes, this is the one expert area I can tell you about.
Yeah. So
for those of you who don't know, Joey does Killjoy. What's the website? You can do it.
No. I don't do T-shirts anymore, but I used to. So I don't. So no more T-shirts.
The website doesn't exist?
No, I shut it down.
Oh wow, never mind.
Because I got tired of doing T-shirts.
See, even when we are looking for a sponsor, we can't find one. So
we asked for sponsors the whole first episode over and over.
No, but yeah. So this shirt was cute. It was clever. The 3830 was great.
Cute.
I liked it. That's cute.
All right.
Did you see the moving truck or the truck?
Yes.
What? Yeah.
Yes. This just before you got here today, I saw that come across. And did we do this? And by we, I guess I got to clarify the we. Did the Wii University do this, or did the Wii fans do this?
I don't care.
Well, they said there were people already driving around the week before promoting the game too. So it feels like maybe it's athletics, but it feels a little outside the scope of my experience with athletics.
Yeah,
that they would be driving a truck around town.
It's surprising. Well, we can.
But did you see the one with the Tennessee fan that saw the bus? Have you guys both seen this?
No.
Okay, so we're talking about two different things. So there's a truck driving around Atlanta with the advertisement for the Furman game, but it has the UT GSU score up on it.
Yeah.
And there's a Tennessee fan that saw it and recorded it, and he posted it on Twitter. And he's like, man, like this is just.
Oh no! So what I saw, and that's awesome. But what I saw was this truck on the back of it had the score of the Tennessee game, and then the entire side of the truck was a digital video board, and it was playing the highlights.
That's what I'm talking about.
Oh, okay, so we are from the same thing.
Yeah.
Okay, there's a video from a Vols fan
that posted it. The Twitter GA followers was the one that I saw. I posted that. It was great. And we talked about how much is going on. Talking about this today, I was walking back from daycare. I was not at daycare. I was picking my kids up from daycare, but I was walking back and I'm wearing my Georgia State shirt because it's Blue Shirt Tuesday, and this guy rolls his window down. He's like, "Hey, did you go there?" And I'm like, "Yeah." He's like, "They got a pretty good football team now," and I'm like, "Yeah." Yeah, we do. Yeah, we do. So, it's just, and
we're a football school.
That's Monday. I went up to Grant Park with my kid and was sitting at the playground, and some guy came up and was just like, "Yeah, you're proudly repping today, huh?" And I'm like, "Absolutely. I'm wearing my blue shirt and my hat." And
exactly.
It's like, well, little does he know I was proudly repping before, but a little less proud. But but it happened. I was repping. Let's say I was repping.
There you go.
We were still buying tickets. Okay.
Yeah, exactly.
So we all watched, and sorry, I've lost a little bit of my voice from this weekend, partially from this game, but also from Dragon Con. But all three of us watched the game here in Atlanta at Halfway Crooks at the viewing party that was put together by Panther Talk and ourselves, which was great.
It was awesome.
I wanted to talk about Halfway Crooks and what it was like up there, but you guys, Joey, what was your take? You live in Summerhill. Mm-hmm. You've been there before, right?
Yeah, obviously, yeah. I stumble home from there a lot. I love the atmosphere. It's very eclectic,
right?
But they were very welcoming and they were very nice. Anytime, we asked them to do something, they would close the shades. Whatever. Yeah. They were super nice and great beer, great prices.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ryan, really what was your thoughts on watching the game there?
When we got there wasn't a lot of people. It was like mid-afternoon because I think it was a 3:00 kickoff.
3:30.
Yeah, so it's sort of a weird time to be in a business. And when we were like, "Oh, the game's about to be on," and I started ordering my beer.
Yeah.
They were like, "Oh, thank God you guys are coming," and
right.
then we packed the place.
Right. Yeah. It was a great turnout. So
yeah.
For those of you that have not been before, one, go check it out. But two, they have an upstairs. It's I guess technically a rooftop patio.
Yeah.
But they have covered, I don't know the term for it, but it's covered something or another in there. So it's still kind of open air.
It's kind of a retractable roof.
It's retractable.
But it protects the rain and the sun from beating down on you and everything. It's a very, very cool open atmosphere to watch a game. And yes, there were just a handful of us there at first, but by the time the game really got rolling, we had a great crowd.
Yeah.
We had a really good crowd.
A lot of good cheering.
A lot of cheering, and then they obviously they had their regular street traffic of other fans of other teams coming in, or those people that just were really not necessarily a big football fan that were out getting their drink on, and we had a lot of them kind of jump in and start chiming on. And
there were some UGA people downstairs that I was happy to inform them that we were beating Tennessee on the way to the bathroom. I told them, and they were very excited.
I'm sure they were. I'm sure they were. Yeah, it was a good time. Hopefully, we can do more watch parties there throughout the season.
I think we have to now.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
Right. There's a lot of
variables.
I'm probably not going to the Furman game. I've got to watch it at Halfway Crooks.
That's the thing.
We have to make sure that Halfway Crooks can get ESPN3.
Yeah.
So that was good. So next time, anybody that's listening that was not there, come out to Halfway Crooks and watch the game with us. It was fun. So
they a sponsor of the show now, or
they can be.
They were gracious hosts. I think they've done their job for being sponsored.
Absolutely,
at this
for sure,
point.
for sure. They did a lot for us there. They did a whole lot for us. So Obviously, Tennessee is the big thing this week, but is there anything else we want to talk about that before moving on to Furman? Think we gotta beat that dog like Georgia State beat Tennessee?
Yeah.
All right. Yes, congratulations to all the guys on the Georgia State football team. You guys did a fantastic job on Saturday. There is one thing I want to talk about that I did not get to participate in. People went down to the stadium. They welcomed them home when they drove in.
Yeah, well, I walked over.
Did you go? You were there? Oh, yeah. So what was that like? Talk about that.
I mean, I got there and the bus unloaded, and I mean all the guys they just looked really happy. I mean, honestly, it's just like. We've seen our team over the years, with a lot of frustrating losses, and it was just really heartwarming to see them, so happy, and to come into Atlanta at 11:30 at night and have the local news be there to interview you. I mean, even if it was just one station,
still,
but awesome. Still, that's.
I mean, they don't interview me.
No, they don't.
Yeah.
They asked to interview one of us, and nobody wanted to do it because nobody wanted to be on local news.
And everyone was probably still celebrating themselves and not really the condition to be on the news.
I did want to say on some of the celebrations that we had on some of the touchdowns, I feel like I almost pulled a Ron Hunter and ruptured my Achilles. I was like,
"You're so GSU.
No, I came down and landed
so hardcore.
and I was like, oh, that really hurt my left ankle, and I was like, did I actually just tear my Achilles like Ron?
You made me think of another thing. Sorry to keep dragging this along, but
no, we can talk about Tennessee losing to Georgia State all day long.
During the Sean Elliott press conference after the fact, I mean, it was hard to pay attention to what he was saying because you could hear the guys whooping in the background, cheering,
that was great.
And even in one of the questions, you heard somebody say like, "Well, we know what the guys think because we can tell, like we can hear them,"
Yeah, that was great. That was fun. that was a fun watch. I mean, and I mentioned the look on Coach's face before, but man, just a career. You dedicate your career to coaching football. And there's those wins. I mean, I'm sure Nick Saban really enjoys winning national championships, but I guarantee you, he went to sleep a lot easier after winning his 5th one than Coach Elliott did after winning that game. He was, I'm sure he was enjoying some cocktails when he got home.
Well, I mean, I think as a coach, if you're an SEC coach, obviously you get the pick of all the whatever 4 or 5 star talent you want. You can probably find some 4 or 5 star talent, and to go in and beat all that 4 or 5 star talent with 2 and 3 stars.
Yeah.
I mean, that says something about coaching. And,
absolutely.
I mean, I'll be first to admit it. I've kind of felt like this might be a season for Coach where we gotta make or break. This is 2 or 3 seasons in.
If I would have told you going into this game that after the game was over that one coach would be on the hot seat and another would be not, which coach did you think it would be?
Yeah, exactly.
I sure not.
I don't think I would have put Elliott on the hot seat for losing to Tennessee. We all expected that.
I think a lot of us thought that Elliott was this was the make or break year for him. So that's what I was getting at. Coach, love you. Not talking trash about you. Really, I'm not. We're very, very proud.
He was on a seat that was warming up. Not necessarily hot, and now I think it's cooled off quite a bit. Just the one win probably cooled it off.
Yeah, no, I'm definitely proud to eat crow.
Happy to eat crow.
And I just thought of something else that came from the message from Panther Talk. I think it was Ben that said this game tells us nothing about this team. I think it may have told us something.
I want to take some credit because I got some flack on that, and I said I felt like the first 2 games are going to tell us something. Now I didn't say that we're going to win, but I said I feel like we should be competing.
You texted David that we were going to win, didn't
you? We need to bring that up. Okay, bring that up in the air.
You showed me the text as soon as you got here today.
On Panther Talk, I did say I felt like I feel like we should be competing with Tennessee. I mean, they're obviously not the best. SEC team anymore. So to see some progress where we at least keep it within a few touchdowns, I didn't want to see us losing 49-0. I wanted to see us scoring and, holding around a little bit. Shocking that we won. Okay, wasn't expecting that, but we should be at this point in our program, we should be competing a little bit with SEC teams, and then we should be taking care of
Right, I think that's kind of a little bit about what Ryan and I said last week. Is like, the first quarter, the first half, try to do something, and then the depth,
and we've done that before.
The depth would hold us back from finishing out the game. Oh, but yes, there is something I wanted to. Tried to end the conversation 10 minutes ago. We're still going about Tennessee.
That's
like
fine.
I said, but we kind of got off track on this before the podcast started. Is something that I said, speaking of eating crow from last week, something that I said was that we were not going to be scoring touchdowns unless it was garbage time. The only garbage time touchdown came from Tennessee.
Tennessee, that's so huge. Tennessee scored points.
I'm kind of
in
mad
garbage
about
time.
it. I'm kind of mad that they did that.
Right, yeah, but that
But it's also amazing.
It is. It's great. All right, with that, I think we can officially move on until something else comes up.
I'm just going to read my text where I said next week we're going to be celebrating or talking on the podcast following our biggest win against an SEC opponent.
There you go. He said it privately. He's not posting anything publicly about it. Yes.
I will go to my grave saying that I was completely serious on that.
Well, Ryan predicted the win at the end of the last podcast. We went
All right.
from your 42-3 loss prediction to a W. So, all right. This Saturday, 7 o'clock, the Furman Paladins. That's who we got.
A night kickoff.
First night kickoff at the new stadium. Only second night kickoff on a Saturday for the entire program. This is exciting. This is going to be fun. That place should be packed, right?
It should be.
Absolutely. Apparently people are selling out. They're not selling out tickets, but it sounds like tickets are selling fast.
That's great.
And the extra tickets that I had are all gone.
So spoken for. I think I've gotten mine spoken for.
Mine are spoken for. I have 4 seats, so mine are taken up. And
excellent.
I think I was 100%. I asked if somebody wanted them, and they were like, yes, immediately. So
yeah. And I had somebody at work. They were like, I'll take as many tickets as you can give me.
Yeah.
And they had never been to a Georgia State game. They were a grad, and they said, I really have been meaning to
Now's
go
the
for
time.
years and years. I said, all right, here's the time.
Just like an Atlanta fan.
We're all like, double it down.
You won now. Okay, I'll go.
So the pressure's on. Like we
that's right. That's what we got to win.
We touched on this earlier. It's like this would be a typical that we would get a big win and then fall into a trap game against an FCS team. But so what do we know about Furman Paladins? I know
I didn't even know they were Paladins.
Yeah, I had to look it up. I don't know.
We only play weird named teams this year. Okay, Volunteers are a weird name. Paladins and who else?
Broncos.
So Furman is traditionally okay. I don't know if you knew, but they are a old school rival of another team in Georgia.
Gotcha.
We don't talk about as much.
I didn't even know what state they were from.
Yeah, I was about to say
that.
that. No disrespect to Furman whatsoever at all, but I honestly don't even know where the school is located.
Where is it?
Greenville, South Carolina.
South Carolina.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think. Yeah. It's South Carolina.
I think it's South Carolina.
Well, then Coach Elliott probably knows every single player on the team.
He probably recruited some of them.
Exactly.
At some point.
So what I do know about Furman is one, the Paladins. Two, that they beat Charleston Southern Buccaneers 46-13 on Saturday, and they are currently ranked 11th in the FCS.
Yeah. Which is way higher than
good.
we ever were in the FCS.
This is a trap game for us.
Yeah, that was the very next word in my little bullet point here was trap game.
We're on the same page.
Yeah, there we go. Exactly. You've been reading my notes.
No, I would never.
Just like school all over again, except for we weren't in school at the same time.
Nope.
There's not much to say. This is a game that every single FBS team should beat every single FCS team they play, but then every SEC team should beat every SBC team that they play.
That's
so
true.
that didn't work out well for Tennessee last week. So we're gonna get back to Tennessee. Every topic's going to Tennessee.
But our guys have to come down from it, and they have to come down and do what they need to do to win because we know they can.
Yeah,
they should.
Oh yeah. Well, here's the thing, and I thought about this earlier today because I've been, obviously I've had the trap game on my brain all week, and then I went back to the comment that, and I'm sorry, we're going back to Tennessee a little bit, but I promise you it has an endpoint, where Dan said that he, don't be surprised if when we beat Tennessee, and that confidence that he has. Dan has set his sights on Sun Belt Player of the Year.
He talks about it a lot.
He talks about it. That is his focus. That man is going to make sure our team is focused for this weekend.
And from
if he wants Sun Belt Player of the Year, he's not going to let.
And from the post game interview, it's exactly what he sounds like. So obviously, the only thing that matters to us is getting that W at the end of the game. But what is a satisfactory W and what is an unsatisfactory W? I mean, obviously, if we put up 60 points on them, we're all going to have a great time doing this exact same show next week. But if we win 17-14 with the last-minute field goal...
If we do it in the same way we did versus Kennesaw, I'll be very concerned.
Exactly. I think that we need to make a statement against...
you did it.
I did it, didn't I? Yeah, I think this needs to be a statement game. We need to show that we are
who we say we are.
We are who we say we are.
I'll be honest. I think this game is our defense's game to lose.
Right. Was this because they're one of those silly video game offenses?
Yeah, Tecmo.
Yeah. That's what they do.
Do they?
Yes.
I didn't know that.
Yes.
So our defense, I mean, one of our big complaints about last year was our defense. We heard from anonymous coaches that people didn't have to prepare for our defense because we ran a high school defense, right? And so now we're running something a little bit more complex, I would imagine.
Offense,
I felt more comfortable when I watched our defense against Tennessee. I mean, Tennessee didn't screw up that much.
We had a couple missed
them.
assignments, I think, a couple blown plays where they had some long plays, but
other
that
than happens.
That,
bend don't break.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I think that the most important thing that we can do or talk about at least for next week is tailgating.
Yes,
that's important.
We talked about last week, but the new setup on the bricks, officially trademarked.
Yeah,
not officially at all. So it's a 7:00 game. We're not used to this. What time are we getting down there?
I have that whole day off and the whole next day off. So,
I mean, we were typically the 7 a.m., 8 a.m. people there back before we had kids.
Well, but I have the kid later on, so I think I get to finagle some early on tailgating time as well. Go. But I also get carried away.
Yes.
And so I'm a little worried.
So maybe we should talk to the brewers of PBR and ask for a PBR light. So
they have that, but it's not worth it.
Well, that's the beauty
you save like 30
of,
calories per.
Halfway Crooks beers are not that heavy, so
that's true.
I really want to make the Summerhill Georgia Avenue
a little pub crawl.
Well, they sell growlers. So
I know.
You just
I
go
bought
pick
them.
up. You go pick up a growler and then bring it to the tailgate, and then every time you need a refill, you just wander back.
I did not know this, and this sounds awesome. I love this idea. This is fantastic. Yeah. So I think, and I have not officially spoken to my wife about what my leash is like on Saturday, but I think she expects me to be spending my entire day Georgia Stating it up. And I want to get down there early, and I'm still not exactly certain to make sure that the tents are all going to be set up for us early in the morning. But I'm wanting to do like let's say 9 a.m. show up there. 10 hours of tailgating before getting inside the stadium.
I might be a 10. But we're not far off.
We're
not far off.
We're not far. Yeah. And I'm sure something will happen to keep me from making it there that early. But I'm anxious to see what tailgating looks like. And how many people are showing up in this whole new environment and everything.
On the bricks at Victory Plaza.
On the bricks at Victory Plaza, inside of Georgia State Stadium at Pete Petit Field.
Good. Can I talk about tailgating in general?
Yes.
Can we do like a theme? We got chili.
Yeah, for the last game of the season.
Yeah. Can we do like one day is like wings or one day is like?
So I've been
Paladins.
I'm trying to look up what a paladin is really quick to see if there's anything.
For my role playing game days, it was more like a religious night.
They're like a cleric mixed with a warrior.
Right.
Okay.
So no, I've been slacking in the past few years as far as preparing something like big time. But yes, I typically like to theme my tailgates to what the opponent is, so I can eat them. Okay. Paladins, that's a struggle.
Yeah, it's a very.
We're not cannibals.
Yes.
It's some kind of
manna and wine. Not manna. The bread
Yeah.
of the bread of Christ.
Yeah.
The body
Yeah.
of Christ. Yeah. And wine. That doesn't sound very.
Nope, that'll be weird.
No, that won't be good.
no.
I could bake bread in a smoker.
We could take do we take communion?
Guys,
Or what do we do?
let's stop being weird. I'll just get some wings and some PBR, and we'll be good.
Sorry, I think I'm just gonna do the
wings.
the staple traditional burgers and hot dogs. Maybe just one or the other, but yeah.
And goat cheese.
Well, that's your thing.
We talked about this.
And mimosas
And manmosas.
with your PBR.
PBR
or
and
Natty Light
OJ.
in there. Yeah, so yeah, I agree. I do think it'd be great if we actually did start theming the tailgate food items. But yeah, somebody let me know what I can theme for a Furman.
Apparently a paladin is some kind of Italian something, so maybe I'll bring a pasta salad.
There you go. Or maybe they're from South Carolina. Maybe we do some Carolina style barbecue or something like that.
All right.
Yeah, but that's mustard, isn't it?
Yeah, I don't like
That's
it either.
gross.
Yeah, it's the worst kind of
Yeah,
barbecue, especially for someone who focuses so much on sauce.
Yeah.
So yeah, but I'm looking forward to it. I think we'll be out there, get a good crowd. Hopefully, students show up. Hopefully, the others show up. Hopefully, it's a good time. So one thing I was going to talk about for this leading up to the to the Tennessee game, but it's not as big of a deal now. They athletics and marketing is doing a really good job about getting a lot of promotions out there for this game to try to build up the attendance, and then Coach Elliott's got to go ruin it by winning Tennessee, and now all that good graces that marketing did is all for naught because he's bringing more people than they are. But they did a lot of different things. It's some BOGOs. I think it's Summerhill night, so both of you guys are obligated to be in attendance.
Well, so they were. If you bought with that code, they're donating to the Organized Neighbors of Summerhill, which is sort of the neighborhood group.
That's brilliant. I did not know that. That's brilliant. It's a smart move to make.
So it's buy-in for the neighborhood to get people, because you guys know how neighborhood organizations are. They're kind of disgruntled about a little bit of everything, but if you buy them off,
they show up when they're upset about something, but they don't really show up when they like something, which is unfortunate. But they're doing a couple different offers. There was the BOGO, like I said. There was the Summerhill night. They did like really inexpensive 40-yard, 50-yard line tickets, and then they were even doing tickets with drink vouchers and whatnot.
Yeah, I'm kind of sad I missed that promotion actually.
Well, so that's something we did not talk about last week that is new this year is when you got your season tickets, you got a plastic card, and that's good for 20% off of all food and alcohol.
I got to give some props because that is great.
Yeah. It's a great idea, and it is something that I suggested in the past. I don't know if my suggestion had anything to do with it, but that's something.
But it's like a hard card. It's like something to put in your wallet. And,
but it's something that the Braves used to do. I think the Braves may have been like 33% off of like merchandise or whatnot, and that was what I was suggesting to them. But and then as we discussed, the 3830 ticket deal. So hopefully,
I liked all the promotions. There were people on Panther Talk who were kind of complaining, like, well, they're just pulling all this stuff out. They're doing a lot, and it seems like it's a bit much. But like, it seems like now is the time to do it before game one. I mean, I know we're not game one, but before home game one, to try multiple different things. And I'm really hoping that, somebody in athletics is keeping track of which one does well and which one doesn't do well. And then they just kind of hone in on that as the season goes on.
We can't complain about them not doing anything and then complain when they do.
Yeah, it's the right thing. They're trying to figure out what works.
As long
and
as
a troll, expert troll, 3830 is the one to do.
Cash drop, please no cash drop.
Right.
I was fine with the cash drop.
Really?
I know I'm weird.
They need a drone out there now. We don't have a roof to do the drop from. But
we're giving lots of props to athletics. I mean, the promotion with the 3830,
the truck.
The
truck.
If
that is them, I think
I'm
it's
sure
them.
it is.
It's got to be them.
The $22 deal, that was a great deal.
Yeah,
I mean,
that's excellent. Well done on their side. So hopefully everyone comes out and really enjoy it. And you should come out. This is the only home game for like 4 weeks, 5 weeks, or something like that. Because after this, we're at Western Michigan, and then we're at Texas State.
We're not back till October 5th.
And then we have a bye week.
Yeah,
and
that's
we come back, and then it's our homecoming. So this is the game to definitely come out and show your Panthers, how much that big win meant to you and everything. So.
I think I'm back to the tailgate for homecoming, though. I was going to do this charity that was walk a mile in her shoes.
You did that previously.
Yeah, and they canceled it. So they're still raising money, but they're not doing the walk, and I was going to have to walk in heels for a mile in the morning and then go get drunk with you guys at the tailgate. And now I just get drunk.
You probably started drinking earlier and then...
No, that's how you break an ankle.
I've never worn heels before, so I don't. That's not true. High school we did was Rocky Horror Picture Show.
Oh, nice.
Oh yeah. That was something else. But, so yeah. Okay, so yes, Furman this week, tailgates early. Often come out. Hope to see everybody else out there. You guys got anything else that we should talk about for this upcoming game?
I'm excited.
Yes, it should be
excited to see a big crowd.
Yeah, hopefully so. I mean, our biggest crowd, I guess, was the Kennesaw game last year. That was the biggest crowd we've had so far in the stadium. Hopefully we can do better than that.
Yeah, just one last thing on Furman. I just really, I'm hoping to see the students come out for something now.
Please.
I mean, if we can't get the students out after an SEC win, then man, I don't know. It's
got to be one of those things. We need several years of consistent growth so that kids that come in as a freshman see a winning team and they have a winning team throughout their collegiate career, and so they just expect to come back. But it's really hard to get pumped up for something when you've just not witnessed them being good. So
we've talked about culture of winning so much.
They're also doing some student housing like literally across the street.
And I think that's going to be not mostly, but it's going to be all of the athletes, like all of the athletes.
Oh, good.
I think that they're trying to get every athlete on scholarship that has housing. I don't know how that part works. That has housing as part of their scholarship, that they would be there, at least the football players, and but I think it's all athletes.
I mean, I'm more worried about the other people too, though. Is like if you're staying there and it's game day and you're a student at Georgia State, like just walk across the street. Right. When you're at the game. You're not a mile away like they are now.
Right.
And have to take a bus over. You just walk across the street.
You can tailgate on your back porch.
Exactly.
Yeah, that works out. That's nice. So yes, this Saturday, look forward to seeing a packed stadium. I want to talk about, we've covered Tennessee, we've covered Furman, we've already gone a little bit in here, but I do want to talk about some new things that are going on. We went to, or Ryan and I both went to the GSU Football Live event Thursday at Woods Chapel, also in Summerhill. And this is something that I would encourage everybody else to go to. And I expect we're probably going to see a larger turnout than we saw last week. It was not a lot of us, but with this big win, I'm sure a lot of people are going to want to show their support there. Thursdays at 6 at Woods Chapel. What did you think of the event there?
My only problem is I couldn't hear anything, but I don't typically watch that show anyway, so no offense to Coach.
Well, I think your daughter was actually able to hear everything,
and everyone was into it because. So before it started, Coach was playing. What's it called?
Shuffleboard.
Shuffleboard, with my daughter, my 3-year-old daughter, and then during the show, she thought it would be great to continue playing, and so went right up next to The Voice and was yelling at me to keep sliding them, and everyone said they could hear her.
Yes,
which is great.
She was a special guest. She got jealous of her father being on his little podcast and wanted to one-up him and start interviewing Coach himself. But it was fun. It was good. It was hard to hear. It was really hard to hear. But one of the great things is, we have the luxury of having the most accessible coach and athletic directors and just athletic staff as a whole. And so after the interview was over, I mean, I'm sure if Coach wants to talk, this to be public knowledge, but we hung out there and we chatted, and it was fun. And if you want to talk to Coach, would be a good time to come out and do it. And he'll probably.
Not gonna tell you any surprises or anything, but he's very honest behind the scenes.
Absolutely.
Too. So he does. The coach speak kind of goes away, which is good.
Exactly. And I was telling him there's one thing that I want to make sure we make clear about this podcast. This is a 0% coach speak podcast. We're not coaches, so it can't be. But you hear the God honest truth to at least the level that we know it to be true. There was one thing I asked him that the response I got did not make me look forward to the game, but obviously it must have been a misperception on my part or something else. And that question just was, what's the locker room morale like? What's it like in there? And he took a little bit of a breath and then he said it's good. It's really good. And maybe there was something more that he wanted to tell me, positive or negative, or maybe he was like, I wish this guy would stop asking me questions. So I'm not sure which one it was, but I definitely realized that I'm definitely not someone that should be asking questions like that, because I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know what I'm doing at all.
The other great thing is Dave Cohen there, who is a national treasure. It's at least a Georgia State treasure, but I think he's a national treasure. I think he's better than the Georgia announcer Munson.
Oh wow!
Yeah, I know.
That's huge.
It's better than Munson.
Voice.
Better than Munson. And I grew up a UGA guy, so that's, I mean, it's big, right?
Right.
But he's accessible. So you go up there, you talk to him, you're going to talk about Kiss. I'm sorry, that's what you're going to talk about.
Yep.
And he'll be honest with you about Kiss and how amazing they are.
And how amazing they are. And then he has just this encyclopedic knowledge of Georgia State athletics for the past, 40 years,
He
30
has
years.
been through so many losing seasons of Georgia State athletics.
He's probably called more losses than anybody else.
Yeah.
And collegiate.
Loves Georgia State so much.
So passionate about it. So passionate, which is great. So yeah.
Almost as much as Kiss.
Almost as much as Kiss. He ranks them in that order. So it's a nice little setup. Come check it out. We had a lot of fun there. Hopefully you'll make it. So.
Good food, good bar too.
And it's this Thursday at
6 o'clock.
this Thursday.
No.
No, I love
the
Thursday.
That's a whole other podcast.
But they embraced us early. I remember when I went in there when they first opened, and the bar did not even have liquor, and they had a Georgia State helmet up on the bar. So they knew what neighborhood they were moving into, and they embraced us quickly, which I definitely appreciate.
Yes, and if you can't be there for it, they do stream it live on Facebook, and you're allowed to ask questions that they will ask to the coach and to Dave if you want to ask him about Kiss, I suppose. So, all right, well, we're winding down here a little bit. There's a couple more things we can talk about. Let's talk about around the NCAA and the Sun Belt Conference. Obviously, our conference mates played some games as well. Not any of them fared as well as we did, which is great. I guess there's some wins, some losses. There were some really, really big losses.
That other team in Georgia
had a really big loss.
55-3? Is that what it was?
Yes.
55-3.
Yes. 55-3. Yeah. And so I was really interested in seeing what the guys at 247 thought about as far as power rankings after this, because obviously we're number one, right?
Yeah, right, sure.
We beat the SEC team. We've got to be the most powerful team, best team in Sunbelt. Now, that is not the case. So Joey called it. So Appalachian State got picked as number one.
They are receiving votes in the top 25 for NCAA.
Yeah, they had 3 or 4.
Somebody gave us a 1 vote, and I'm not sure who that is.
It is not a unanimous decision on who was number 1 in the Sun Belt. Somebody got 1 vote for Georgia State. And so when I saw that, I was like, all right, who are these guys that are voting? And I looked down, and you've got some people from the Jags Jungle and Eagles for Ben Moore of Panther Talk and Scott Watkins of Panther Talk. Scott's new to the Panther Talk, and he's a Troy alum, so I'm not sure how dedicated he is. So I'm just wondering.
We get 2 votes?
I guess so.
All right.
How are we 4th?
I think he was a he was a Troy. He was a Troy guy before he came on. Scott, what's
Watkins.
his name? Watkins.
Yes. But yeah, so we got ranked 4th with our first place vote, just behind Georgia Southern, number 3, with their 55-3 loss to the number 6 team in the nation, LSU. But yeah, come on, man.
I asked somebody, which I guess you should all know who that is, if it was a homer vote, and I was told it was not a homer vote.
Really?
That it was not a homer vote at all. So
Excellent.
Somebody besides a Georgia State fan voted for us to be number 1.
I don't think Ben would do that.
I would. I would do it in a heartbeat.
I would do that.
Because I honestly, I feel like, and I said it on our board, until we start beating App, Troy, and State, we don't.
Frankly,
there's
when I was
there's
told
a
it
top
wasn't,
tier, and
when I was told it wasn't a homer vote, I was upset with the person because I was like, "Why didn't you vote for us?"
Really?
Well, yeah.
We've got a we've. I mean,
Nah, you take it.
All right.
Well,
we beat an SEC opponent.
I think about it this way. I think it was Spurrier who, when he did his coaches poll when he was still coaching, he always ranked Duke 25th week 1, going into week 1. He's like, until, because that's where he used to coach, and he's like, until they show me differently, I'm gonna give him my 25th place vote. All right. Well, until you show me differently, Georgia State.
We have the best win.
We have the best win in the entire conference, so that we should have been.
We should have been number one from everybody.
Yeah. So App got in there ahead of us, Troy, then those other guys.
App probably deserves it, but
obviously they're probably. But
it wouldn't affect my vote.
App's a solid program.
There was one score that actually did stand out to me, and it has nothing to do with us whatsoever at all, except for it does a little. Texas State lost to Texas A&M, 41-7.
Oh,
I didn't know that.
All right.
So I thought that was that was
a little throwback
fun.
there.
Yeah. Also an in-state
rivalry right there.
So that's another thing we talk about a lot,
game.
that like Tech and UGA won't play us because we're in-state, but it happens across the board in other states and like in Texas just now, right?
Yep. Yeah.
And I think South Carolina plays Citadel every year, and that's
I think there's
in-state.
actually, and I could be completely wrong on this because I lie a lot, but there's a law in South Carolina that both Clemson and South Carolina are required to play the FCS schools.
That might be true, and I don't believe in doing that.
Well, they're public universities,
all public,
so I don't necessarily think it has to happen for football, but I think it should definitely regularly. It should regularly happen for basketball.
I think
I'm not sure why UGA doesn't. I get why Tech doesn't, because Tech has everything to lose.
I know why UGA won't do it. We just beat Tennessee.
Yeah, well, but up until this point,
right?
I mean, Alabama scheduled us twice.
Yes. Yeah. That's for sure.
Keeping in-state money in-state, though, seems like it would make a lot of sense. And I don't necessarily think you should pass a law for it, but I also don't buy it as an excuse of, like, they have everything to lose and nothing to gain, because that's true of anyone they schedule. If they're scheduling, App State or whomever else, like, they have everything to lose and nothing to gain, regardless, right? Like, they get a home game, and then they pay out. And they're helping somebody in the same university system, and so there's no reason not to do it.
Yeah, I think it'll happen eventually. It may be a long time, but I think it'll happen eventually. So
what I'm hoping is eventually we're forced into a bowl game with one of them.
Well, kind of like the basketball tournament last year with Georgia, where they did not want to play us, and we curb stomped them just like we did Tennessee.
I still think we lost that game on purpose so we could play them.
I can't remember who it was.
I have no idea because we wouldn't remember. And that's the thing. It matters a lot more that we beat UGA than beating whoever else in that. Because if we win our own tournament, we're in the tournament.
Right.
It doesn't matter who we lost against in our regular season.
We knew that if we lost, we would play Georgia, and we lost in like horrific fashion. Yeah. It wasn't we lost to them the way that we beat Georgia. It was bad. So yeah, I'm on board for that. I believe that we lost to win. I'll take it. Yeah. I'm not sure if it's worth mentioning, but we already said Georgia beat Vanderbilt and Tennessee. Tech lost to Clemson.
Arkansas State. Good showing against SMU.
Did they?
Is SMU any good these days? I don't know.
I don't know either.
They got a death penalty some years ago.
It was 37-30. Yeah, that's not bad. It's not bad. None of the other games were really that exceptional, except for watching LSU have a lot of fun. That was nice.
Yeah.
So, around Atlanta, I'd mentioned about going to DragonCon last week. I won't go into all that detail, but there was one funny thing. I'm walking down with a buddy of mine. We're going. I can't remember where we're going at the moment, and he's like, "Oh, you're gonna want your picture taken with this guy." And I look over, and it's a guy in orange, decked out overalls and everything, with a noose around his neck and a big sign talking about how horrible Tennessee football is, and of course I'm wearing my Georgia State Darth Vader shirt that day, and so I go up and I got my picture taken with him, and he was very happy to do it, and it was very cool, and so that'll be on my Twitter if I haven't already posted it. I was really drunk.
I showed up to DragonCon for 2 hours or something, just to stop in and people watch, because that's what you should do on DragonCon.
Right.
And I very proudly wore my Georgia State hat.
Nice.
And was walking through the crowd and all my sports stuff. I went and I was like, I'm dressed as a sports ball fan.
There you go, sports ball.
That's what
sports
I
ball.
am.
Exactly. So there's one thing I thought was interesting about there. So they do a charity drive, and it was a blood drive. Great, that's awesome. But they were actually trying to get people to donate blood at Dragon Con, and I'm like, all right, you've got people here that are operating on 4 hours of sleep and way more alcohol than
they're
anybody.
Like fueled on alcohol.
Could you imagine being that person getting that blood transfusion? You're like, oh no, I was getting into a car accident and now I'm drunk.
Yeah, you got to throw away like 3/4 of that blood.
Exactly. So I found that amusing. That was.
I work in the ER at the hospital right next to Georgia State, and there were tons of Dragon Con people there this weekend. You don't want their.
Oh, really?
Yeah. They've been drinking all weekend.
Well,
wow.
Well, good news is they did raise like $100,000. I read for the blood drive. So that's good. That's good.
I would
Somebody's
donate money.
Get a buzz off their.
Man, I knew this girl that was in training to become a nurse, and she needed someone to test doing the
phlebotomy,
the whatever. And I was like, I don't care. I just went in there, and she just never once.
Let's not talk about it
got
anymore.
the IV in, but it didn't bother me.
I want to vomit.
Okay. Well, let's keep away from that.
I can do it for you.
No.
We will. So, I think there was one other thing I want. Oh yeah, really quickly. Ryan and I just participated in the fantasy football draft for the Panther Talk League. That was fun. I just wanted to mention that with his first pick overall in the draft,
it's a bold move.
He went with Albert Wilson.
Why wouldn't you?
Yeah.
Why wouldn't you?
Yeah. The report card from Yahoo afterwards says it was a bit of a reach. So.
But if you didn't know, he's Mr. Keep 'em Froze, and that's what he's about to do. And we just haven't given him a chance. He's been hurt, and now he's about to come out and show everyone else what we know about him.
Good luck this season, Ryan.
That's all right. I think I was like my ranking was like 4th best or something.
Yeah,
but I do have the lowest initial score.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
We'll see.
You didn't do so bad.
I also can play better wide receivers in the first round because I picked better ones later. But I feel like since I took them first, I need to play them.
Well,
we're just gonna do it.
I do have to admit something to you. And anyone that's listening. I've been adamantly against drafting Saints players.
But you took
for years and years, and not in this draft tonight, but yesterday I had another draft with some friends. And I drafted Will Lutz as my kicker.
That's nice. What I thought was crazy is I never had the opportunity to. People took him before I could.
Oh, he went high.
And he went high. He was a high kicker. That's right.
That's kind of what I like about the league is, now that we've got a couple of players in the league.
Georgia State.
Yeah, it's great.
Robert Davis made the 53 team.
Yeah, I was going to talk about that as part of this as well. So, Shannon Sutherland made it with the Packers. Robert Davis made it with the Redskins. Chase Middleton did not make it with the Falcons, and Penny Hart was waived by the Colts and placed on IR.
Right, he's hurt.
So, yeah, he's hurt. Yeah, but
So, Shannon Sullivan, I remember one of the spring games out at Panthersville where we hung out in the end zone and just drank. Those were the days. It was back when I was doing some recruiting coverage for Panther Talk. Actually, I'd write articles and stuff, and I was talking to a lot of the recruits, and Shannon was one of the recruits I talked to. He came out and found us tailgating. I mean, it wasn't hard to find us; we were the only ones out there, but he found us tailgating and went and he asked about me and found me and said,
cool.
I just want to thank you for giving me the coverage that you gave me and all. And he's such a nice guy.
Excellent.
Just such a friendly person.
Good,
I mean,
good. Well, good for him. I obviously wish him and all the Panther pros the best of luck, except for anyhow.
No, well, let's no. You want him to be automatic, but you don't want him to win the game.
I want him to make every kick he has, but also lose every game. I said the same thing. Maybe is that gonna be my thing? I say that every single time we have this podcast. Is I talk about Will Lutz.
That's fine.
All right. Well,
he's a good guy, and he's a great kicker.
If they can go to the Super Bowl and lose, just to have that opening segment where it's like Will Lutz, Georgia State University.
I hope it's 4th and 10 on the 20-yard line every single drive, and he just kicks his field goal, and then the other team just scores every time.
Yeah.
You
he's changing field goals for touchdowns.
That's right.
We can have him tie the game at the last second, and then they just lose in overtime.
No, I still want him to lose by a lot.
All right.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
I don't care as long as
all right. Well, we'll start wrapping things up a little bit here. Other games are going on. So also what happened last week, men's soccer won a couple. Women's soccer won a couple after having lost their first two. So basically, they're undefeated since we started doing this podcast and talking about them, for what it's worth.
Keep talking about them, David.
Women's volleyball won a couple, lost one. We've got more volleyball and soccer coming up. No real big notable game.
Is this beach volleyball?
This is regular volleyball.
Because I know we talked about this last time. I want to go to a beach volleyball game.
No, the beach volleyball looks like it's not started yet. Women's soccer plays at UAB. I mean, that UAB would be a great team to have a regular rivalry with in all of our sports. Mm-hmm. I'm looking at nothing else looks super competitions we want or matches we want to see or whatnot. But good luck to all of those Georgia State athletes as well. Okay, so in closing, as I said earlier, we did name this podcast. It is State of Atlanta. We are on Google and Spotify. You can subscribe on those two services, and then whenever we record something, it shows up. You can always listen on SoundCloud. That is the host. Apple, I'm working on, but they don't want us right now. They're more specific on exactly what you've got to do to be on the pod, to get listed on their thing, which is fine. They represent more than half of all podcasts out there. I have a Twitter handle for the podcast now, at State of Atlanta. If you wish to follow us, I haven't posted a lot on there, but maybe we can start posting some relevant things, maybe our ventures out in the Georgia State world. Thank you for all of those that listened to the first episode. Thank you for any of you that came back and listened. We got some great response from people.
It was a lot more successful than I would have expected. Like a first podcast. I mean, we had a good number of views.
We had as of coming down here. I don't know how much can be trusted, but it said 61 listens, which is about 5 times what I was expecting. So that's awesome. I have no idea how many of those listened.
Thank you, everybody,
for the full hour and 18 minutes. But for those
we're
of you
almost there
that listened to all of it, thank you very much. And we got.
I listened to it as I fell asleep.
It's very good for that.
I'm kidding. I was
very good for that. Thank you, Ryan, for being here again. Thank you, Joey, for coming for your first time. I hope you had a good time. I enjoyed this again. And if you want to hear anything more from me, I'm at David P. Brown on Twitter. Ryan is at Graham4GA. Joey, do you want to share?
I'm at KilljoyATL.
At KilljoyATL. Excellent. Well, thanks again, guys. Go Panthers. See you Saturday, and we'll talk to you later. Thanks, everyone.